Today I'm going to be doing a review of the LAPOND Smartwatch. This is the new 2015 edition of their smartwatch, and if you can't already tell, it is very heavily influenced by the Apple Watch. On the side you have your power button / dial. It spins, but it only is really useful for the power button. On this side you have the port where your micro USB can plug in, and you have the speakers at the bottom. Now in the back, although probably very difficult to see, you have a space for an SD card and a SIM card. This device can act on its own, or it can connect to a device with Bluetooth. So now let's just put the battery in and boot the device up real quick. Now I put the battery back in, so we're just going to boot it up real quick. As you can see, the boot up time is really fast. It's actually faster than my Moto 360, which is kind of impressive. And it connected to my Note 3, which is what I have to use for it. And as you can see, it tries to sync all the notifications at once. So looking at the device, you are first greeted, when you turn it on, by this screen. This is the main clock screen, and there are 3 different watch faces you can choose from by clicking in the middle. Now, as you can tell, they're all analog watch faces, which is kind of a bummer because I like digital watch faces more. But as soon as you swipe, you're greeted by this digital watch face right here. And by right here is your calling icon, here's your messaging icon, and you can also go from the menu into the tools here. First, we're going to take a look at the tools. Now in the tools, you have an option to add your favorite contacts, alarms, the ability to play music, and then you have something that I find kind of interesting, an FM player. Now, looking back at something like the iPod Nano, I believe the 6th generation, that I wore as a smartwatch for a few months, I'm used to having an FM player available, but this one wants you to plug in earphones. However, there is no space on this watch anywhere to plug in headphones. So I'm kind of confused about why that was added in, if I'm maybe missing something or what the function is. So by going into the menu, you get to another part that's very heavily inspired by Apple. As you can tell, the watch background and the way it's set up is very Apple-like, and even some of the icons are. Now, like I said, this watch can run on its own if you put a SIM card in it. Now, all these at the top are all SIM card only. Seeing as how I have Sprint, I actually couldn't test this feature because Sprint doesn't work the same way as companies that just use SIM cards. Now, another cool thing about this watch is it does have a camera in it. Now the camera is actually on the front, right up here, and I do find that a bit annoying compared to back when I had my Galaxy Gear, where the camera was up in the band at the front, and you could take pictures of things that were actually happening instead of just taking pictures of pretty much yourself. I did manage to get one photo of a lamp. As you can tell, the photo is not going to be that great because it is coming from a smartwatch compared to the camera on your phone, but it's still a pretty neat feature to have. Now there's also video recorder, voice recorder, a file manager app, a video playing app. There's a step tracker, a sleep tracker. There's this QR code right here that will bring you up to a QR code to actually download the software you need. There's a calendar right here. You can switch the volume and stuff right there. Calculator, alarm clock. This I actually very much like. Pretty much, if I were to sit still for a small amount of time, it would vibrate and ring the watch to remind me to get up and move. I find that very useful, and I'm kind of surprised it's not baked into things like Android Wear. You also have your settings, which are pretty basic. Then you have pretty much the meat of what you can do with the smartwatch here. You have your Bluetooth connections, sound, your call logs, the option to make calls, the options to do messages. You have your contacts. You actually have this viewfinder app, which won't work unless I launch the camera. And you have this option to find your phone. That was actually the first time I've ever had that work for me. Now, I do very much like the music thing. As you can see, if you connect it, it will actually play the music through your watch instead of your phone. And I find that very nice, but at the same time, it can also be annoying because phone speakers are generally more powerful than watch speakers. Now, another thing I find annoying is that a lot of these features require you to have the SIM card. I'm not really sure what they are otherwise, and I would really like to know what they are. For example, this penguin. Not that. This planet, I believe, was one. It's just quite a few things that are. Now, overall, I'd have to say this watch is pretty good for its price. It was only $40 on Amazon. And compared to some other cheap smartwatches I've got off Amazon, it runs way better. It doesn't look as ugly. It looks like an Apple Watch. I actually had it mistaken for one the other day. And it works. Now, I will say that the battery life is also very nice. I probably charged this up and put it on around 7 p.m. yesterday. And it's now 3:14 today. And as you can tell, it still has battery life. While something like Android Wear claims to get 24 hours of battery life, I never get anywhere near that on my watch. And while this isn't 24 hours yet, it hasn't died yet in the time that my Android Wear watch did actually die. Now, I just want to talk about some issues I've had with this. First of all, there's a reason it's connected to my Note 3 and not my 6P, which is my actual phone that I use. For some reason, the notification app is actually not available for my device. I'm assuming because I'm on Marshmallow compared to Lollipop like my Note 3, and they probably haven't updated to support it yet. Also, when I did get it on my Note 3, I did have a bit of trouble getting it connected at first. But once I got it connected, it continued to work fine after that. Like I said, I don't really like that the camera is on the very front of the device. I would rather have it on the watch band somewhere. Obviously, the radio was also something that I didn't really enjoy because I can't figure out how to use it. And I don't like the limited choices in watch faces. As you can see, I'm going through the few that you have in the menus option. Then you have the 3 at the very beginning screen, which are all analog. And you have the 1 digital watch face. Overall, I say this watch is actually pretty good for its price. If you have the money to spend and you're looking for a cheap smartwatch, I'd definitely give it a chance. It does look pretty nice, and although it may take a bit of fidgeting to get it set up, once you get it set up, it just works perfectly fine. Although some of the features will be completely lost if you don't have a SIM card, but I think overall that it'd be very nice. Thanks for watching this review. If you have any other questions about the watch, please just leave them in the comments and I'll try to answer them. And if you like this video, please subscribe to see more reviews as they come. Thank you.